The purpose of this video is to give District 109 parents and guardians additional information about the options available to them as we move to an in-person and virtual hybrid model. As you've probably already heard, we are moving towards a phased-in reentry of all of our elementary students. Kindergarten will be returning to schools beginning September 24th, followed by our first and second grade students on September 29th. Third grade will return on October 1st, and we will have all grade levels in session by October 5th, with fourth and fifth grade returning on that date. For a variety of reasons, the district has elected to use an AM-PM hybrid schedule when returning to an in-person and/or virtual option. In the model represented on this slide, you can see an AM in-person sample and a PM in-person sample. An identical schedule would be represented in a virtual climate as well. In the gray highlighted cells, you would see what would happen live in person or synchronously with the classroom teacher. Students will engage in class meetings, SEL activities, science, reading, writing, phonics, and math. On the opposite side of their day, when they weren't in person or synchronous with the classroom teacher, they would be meeting synchronously with their specials teachers for 2 specials each day. In addition to that, they would experience some independent practice in reading, writing, and math. They would still also have some asynchronous science lessons that were available to them using Google Classroom and Seesaw. In making the right choice for your child and your family, it's important to us that you understand the differences and similarities in choosing between the in person and the virtual hybrid choice. The primary difference is that students who choose to remain virtual will receive their 145 minutes of direct instruction with the assigned classroom teacher in an AM or PM session. They will receive this in the same way that they've received 109 online, and that will be in a virtual model via Zoom. It will be within that compacted time frame, however. Those who choose to return in person will receive the same 145 minutes of direct instruction with an assigned classroom teacher in either the AM or PM session, and the learning will just occur directly in the classroom. Again, there are more similarities than differences. All of our students will continue to receive 60 minutes of virtual specials. They'll receive independent practice in reading, writing, and math that is assigned to them by their classroom teacher as a follow-up to the learning that they received either virtually or in person. They'll still have access to asynchronous videos, including science lessons and reading and writing lessons via Google Classroom or Seesaw. And all of our students who currently receive special education and/or related services or are part of our fifth grade TAP math program will continue to receive those services in either environment. We've heard a lot of positive feedback about how students have started the school year in 109 online, and they're asking, how will this hybrid model, in person or virtual, compare to what our child has experienced so far? This slide illustrates, and this is a sample of a second grade schedule, what students were experiencing in 109 online in terms of synchronous minutes and how that compares to the AM-PM hybrid. You'll see that on 109 online, a total of 220 synchronous minutes, while the hybrid is showing 205 synchronous minutes. In the 109 online model, it is important to note that a teacher and class were often synchronous for reading, writing, and math blocks. And that is what would result in the 220-minute total. It's important to note, however, that this time has also been used for small group instruction and independent practice. In fact, many of our families preferred that teachers build in screen time and movement breaks throughout those blocks. Our teachers were often remaining available, but direct instruction for the student was not always continuous. In the hybrid model, students will receive 145 minutes with the classroom teacher and 60 minutes of virtual specials. At 205 minutes, this is approximately 15 fewer minutes of synchronous time. The benefits, however, that we have cited are the social emotional benefit of the return for some students and families to an in-person model, less time lost to digital complications for those students who are struggling in the virtual environment, and a simpler feedback loop. The in person model obviously provides an opportunity for teachers and students to connect in real time. For health and safety reasons, some families have asked us, if I choose for my child to return to school in person, will instructional materials and supplies be shared? This slide illustrates some of the planning that was done in anticipation of a phased in return and the inability of our students to share supplies throughout the school year. Elementary students were provided with a to go bin of supplies at the meet and greet at the beginning of the year. For those students who are returning to school in person, they will bring this bin back to school with them. It will sit next to their desk and it will be labeled with their name. Those supplies within that bin will be dedicated to them only. Any materials that the child would need for at home learning will be sent in the child's backpack or in an at home learning folder provided by the teacher. Art materials came in that bin and those would remain at home. For students who choose the virtual hybrid, they will continue to work out of that bin from their home environment. And if any additional materials are needed for learning, we would coordinate an additional pickup and drop off of supplies as we coordinated at the beginning of the school year. So, another question that has come our way is, why are both of these choices now following the hybrid model? And it's truly because the system's approach is required to make all pieces of the instructional day fit. Our classroom teachers and our specials teachers at the elementary schools will be teaching during both parts of the school day to accommodate half of their students in the AM and half in the PM. Their opportunity for team collaboration and common instructional planning and lunch will now occur during the middle part of the day when students are transitioning between the AM and PM sessions. Also, instead of doubling the number of sessions, principals will sometimes be partnering classrooms to participate in the virtual sessions synchronously. For example, 10 students from classroom A in third grade may join another 10 students from classroom B in third grade because this is happening virtually. The district created class placements based on the commitments we had received in late July and early August. However, we remain committed to continuing to accommodate students and families who are newly choosing to remain remote. To do this, we will need to dedicate some current 109 staff as remote program AM and PM teachers. It's important to understand that these selections may impact all students. You will receive a survey link, and the survey will remain open through Monday, September 14th, to allow your family time to decide what is the right choice for your child. Please know, whatever that decision, that our District 109 school teams and teachers remain committed to your child's learning and growth.